Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your commissioner speaking, and week 4 is done. And I thought I was gonna get my first win against Cody, but Aaron Rodgers happened, and Kansas City defense happened. But hey, okay, I'm still on the hunt for my first win, you guys, but I don't give up, alright? In case you guys haven't noticed, I need you guys to take a peek at my new temporary, I'm gonna say temporary, team name and team picture, huh? Check it out. See if you guys get the joke in that. But yeah, so anyways, guys, week 4, of course, we had a lot of high scoring, more injuries because COVID is around, and for sure, we could say that COVID is definitely around. We all know, obviously, now a couple players, well, at least one player that's a big name, is actually labeled COVID, right? Positive for COVID. That is Cam Newton. So he was actually rolled out, and he might actually be out this coming week as well because of COVID restrictions, right? And then we had early in the week, we had the Tennessee Titans. You know, a lot of players were positive for COVID, right? So the whole we obviously we all know the story, but we have 2 teams postpone their games, and then we had a Kansas City game also postponed. Likely was only till Monday night, so that's good. We didn't get to miss out on another set of players. But after all that, of course, injuries happened, so we'll cover that in a second. But to start off with, check out our introduction so we get the respect we deserve. All right, check it out.
Week 4 recap.
That is right, you guys. So week 4 is in the books. We're ready for week 5. And let's check out who our highest players were this past week. Starting with the quarterback. This guy right here. Number 1 quarterback in the NFL right now when it comes to fantasy football, at least in our league. So it's not only this week's MVP or highest quarterback, it's also the league leading quarterback. And it's not only but Dak Prescott. This guy, 41 completions, 502 passing yards, and 4 total touchdowns, 74.78. That is a ridiculous number, so that belongs to Aaron. So that's obviously one hell of a number to have. 500 yards doesn't come very often, so that is super cool. All right, so our running back is it's a pretty good name to have on here because everybody in this team has been tainted with a bad fame as of late, but it's really good to see this guy making it up on our top, and that is Mr. Joe Mixon. 25 rushing attempts, 151 yards, 6 receptions for 30 yards for a total of 3 touchdowns, 60.60. So that is a really good turnout as well for a running back. Over 150 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is Michael's running back, Joe Mixon. Pretty cool. And another name, same thing, just like the running back. We have tainted names out there, right? But good for them to do a comeback. And it's not an only, but Mr. Mr. Odell Beckham himself. He had 2 rushing attempts, right? So they've been doing a lot of trick plays down in the Browns, especially this past game. So he had 2 rushing attempts for 73 yards, 5 receptions for 81 yards, 3 touchdowns altogether for 49.4. And that is Terrence's Odell Beckham Jr. So again, great name. Especially all of last season, he was not up to his standard that he's supposed to be in, and it's good to see his name to come back in the lead, you know what I mean? So that's pretty good. The tight end though, we finally get to hear this name. This guy right here, we all know he was the number 1 drafted. Well, actually, who went first? Kelsey? I don't know. But anyway, top 2 tight ends in the league. So George Kittle, 15 receptions, 183 yards, and 1 touchdown for a whopping 44.6. And that is George Kittle. So that's pretty good. The kicker, I thought I had the best kicker this week. I'm like, that's the only players I could get on the top, kickers or defense or something, But this guy right here, he had a whopping 4 extra point attempts and 3 field goals for a 25 fantasy points outing. Brandon McManus, he's actually a free agent. He's Denver's kicker, so pretty good, right? Pretty good turnout. And last but not least, like I mentioned briefly in the beginning, Kansas City Chiefs defense. So this guy's right here had a great outcome as well. I want to say it has to be not having, because they were versing the Patriots. So the Patriots, they were running with a backup quarterback. So normally that kind of stuff always gives some extra turnovers and things like that. But altogether, 2 sacks, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble, and a receiving. I think they had a pick 6. So they did score a touchdown that way. So a total of 39 fantasy points. That's pretty good. So that is Cody's defense. So pretty good, right? So yeah, we have a lot of new names this week that we haven't mentioned. Obviously on the top, maybe for Dak Prescott, he might have made. No, I don't think he made the top though. But overall, he's been scoring so many points that he's the overall highest fantasy point leader in the quarterback position. So yeah, pretty good. So like I was mentioning, you guys, injuries, just like COVID, is still going on. This time we have 2, you could say 3 big names, and 2 semi good big names. So I'm gonna start out with Nick Chubb. This guy's been having a great season. He is out for potentially about 6 weeks, I think. So Nick Chubb is gonna be out for a little while. He's on the IR spot right now. Austin Eckler got an injury. I don't know how bad it is. I think it's a couple weeks as well. So hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. Sonny Michel, he's also got hurt. He's on IR. He did miss this past week anyway, so he's been already hurt, but I didn't mention his name before. Alan Lazard, is that how you say that? One of the Packers wide receivers, he got hurt as well. He's on the IR. Davante Adams, he got rolled out shortly before the game started, so but I'm hoping that he could play next week. OJ Howard also on the IR, so he's an injury-prone tight end. We kind of already knew this going in, so hopefully it's not a big surprise there. And then of course my dudes have been hurt. Michael Thomas, I'm really hoping he finally gets to play this week. Julio Jones started for me this past week, and right at halftime, like he never came back. I think he re-injured his hammy. So yeah, I'm hoping one of these days I'll have my 2 top receivers up. And I also, obviously, early this season, I already lost Curlin Sutton from Denver. He would have been my good a 3rd weapon in my receiving squad, right? But I lost him for the season as well. So injuries, COVID is really, really affecting a lot of us. So speaking of affecting a lot of us, if you guys saw the ranking order, obviously we still have our number 1 team, Aaron. He's still undefeated, so good job, sir. We have 3 teams, 3-1 now. We have 5 at 2-2. 1 is sitting at 1-3, and then Tony, when are we gonna get our first win, man? So we have 2 teams with 0. That is myself and Tony, unfortunately. But yeah, Aaron's still the undefeated team, so let's hope he continues. But yeah, the ranking order was so weird this week. Terrence, because obviously he won, big dominant win, 3 ranks up, so he moved up 3 times. Now he's the 3rd overall. Anthony is on a 2-game losing streak, and he moved up 1 to 6th. I don't know how that works out, but on a 2-game losing streak, and you still move up in the ranks. That's pretty good. And then Gabe dropped 5 ranks from that loss, so that's a pretty devastating one. So Gabe dropped 5, Terrence moved up 3, and Anthony moved up 1 with a 2-game loss. So pretty good, Ant. I would call that good strategy for you. And guess what, you guys? The bye weeks are coming. So this coming week, we already won't have the Lions or the Packers. So make sure you guys make your changes. Next week, we're going to have even more. So the Raiders, the Patriots, the Saints, and the Seahawks will not be available next week as well, week 6, right? But this week that we are on now, Lions and Packers. So make sure you guys make your changes. And without further ado, before I forget this time again, let's check out our MVT this week. That's right, very impressive win. 275.22. Terrence is our MVT this week. He derailed our back-to-back MVT Gabe. Well, he didn't derail him because they didn't face each other, but he took over the MVT spot, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, we have our donkeys of the week, which is... So, officially is going to go to Tony. He has 117.34 on his record as the lowest of the week. But when the scores are that close, I have to do double donkey. So, double donkey award. That's right. That goes to Mr. Lino, 118.4. That is a back-to-back donkey for him. So, Lino, wake up your team. And I know I was watching. It was devastating seeing Matt Ryan get almost nothing. And then normally he pairs up with Calvin Ridley. Great duo. I don't think he really caught a pass. If he did, probably we just won. But he was at 0 for most of the game. So unless it was in garbage time, I might have missed it. But that duo was pretty bad. And yeah, overall, obviously you ended up with 118. Tony, 117. If you see your lineup, look at your bench. We all know why you're struggling. You have everybody in red. Everybody's injured or whatever. You already lost a couple people. So, hey, I'm right there with you, man. That's why we're at the bottom. Okay, you guys, but I can't forget this guy. I'll give him time. I like to seem to speak over the donkey. I can't speak over the donkey. I have to give him at least a couple seconds there. But yeah, okay, you guys, so that was our MVT. Terrence, good job on that. We have a double donkey award again this week just because they're like 1 point apart. And yeah, so bye weeks, injuries keep piling up. So waiver wire, there's nothing out there really. Losing Nick Chubb only makes Kareem Hunt even more, valuable. So it's not like you could go and pick up the backup to Nick Chubb because they were already running with a two-headed monster there. So, but yeah, so if you're looking for Eckler, I mean, we already have his backup. I think Cody has some already. OJ Howard, Alan Lazard, I mean, Aaron Rodgers throws to anybody. He makes anybody a superstar over there. So who knows who's going to be taking over that. I mean, we kind of already saw that last night. So, and you guys already know who the last night highlight player was. What's his name? Anyway, I forgot his name. But the tight end for the Green Bay Packers, he's, as of right now, the number 2 tight end in our league when it comes to fantasy points. And he's a free agent right now. So, of course, I already put in my waiver. I shouldn't have said that because I'm at the bottom of the waiver wire. But, hey, I mean, what can I do? Nothing. I'm already at the bottom anyway. So, all right, yeah. So I covered all the positions, you guys, or injuries, bye weeks, MVT. I did not forget this week. So, yeah, so I'm glad we're kind of sticking around. I mean, technically, there's so many people in the 2-2. So technically they're 2 winning performances away from us, right? So I could easily be at 2-4 if I win my next 2, and they could be losing the next 2, right? So not bad. We'll get there. No worries. Don't count me out yet. So I'm based on my new team name and picture. It's just funny, okay? I haven't given up in the world. All right, guys, but yeah, that is it. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully next week is even better. Let's hope we don't have big injuries, because every week's been injuries. And let's hope some of those other people come back. Keep an eye on Le'Veon Bell. He's supposed to be back in week 5, so hopefully Bell returns. And that's a big name back to the list, back to the bag. All right, guys, so hopefully you have a good week, and we'll see you next week for week 5 recap. See ya.